Hi, this is Julian for Production Expert. In this video, I want to demonstrate a key distinction between the two types of sounds that you find in nature, pitched sounds and unpitched sounds, and what effect that can have on your use of equalizers. So I've lined up some example sounds here, and I'm going to start with an unpitched sound. This is noise. In this case, I'm using some pink noise just because it's got a bit more energy in the bottom end, and it sounds like that. And in this equalizer, we can see that we've got a lot of activity. There's no discernible pattern. It's effectively random. But if I create a filter, and I'll just narrow that up, so I've got a very narrow peaking filter, it doesn't matter where I put this filter. There's a corresponding frequency underneath that gets boosted. You can even play this. You can play a tune on it. I could do some bad theremin music on here. Well, it's kind of getting towards the Star Trek theme there. But the point is that all of the frequencies are present all of the time. There is no discernible pitch. That's not the case with pitch sounds. And this is where most people get out test signals. I've got some test signals. Let's do that. Here I've got a sawtooth wave. This demonstrates the harmonic series really nicely. If I put this away so we can see what's happening in this analyzer. Here we see a series of tones. It's just a big chord in effect. All related to this lowest frequency, which is the fundamental. That's the pitch that we perceive. And then multiples of that, twice, 3 times, 4 times going up, we've got the harmonic series. And if I create a filter here, we can hear them. I'll have to line up with it exactly. There's the fundamental. First, second, third. And we get this quite characteristic kind of tune. Etc. Great stuff. That's the harmonic series, and anyone who's played with a resonant filter on a synthesizer has probably heard that before, or used a Hammond organ actually. Let's do the same thing with a square wave, and we'll find that we've still got harmonics, but we've got fewer of them. There are bigger gaps. So there's third, fifth. There's only odd ordered harmonics here. That doesn't really matter. The reason that I've got this one here is because there are gaps and they're bigger. It's a less dense sound. And these gaps are kind of significant just because if you try to boost in a gap, like so, you can't hear it. If you're over a frequency that's actually present, then that EQ makes a difference. This is probably the biggest point I'm making here. If you're boosting or cutting at a frequency at which no content exists in the sound that you're using at the pitch that's passing at that particular time, then you've got a problem because you're not achieving what you thought you were. Okay, that's all very well for test signals. Let's try it with some actual musical sounds. So here I've got a bass guitar. Are they the same? Do they do the same thing? Absolutely they do. And what we see here is we see a series of harmonics, but the levels are different. They're not as predictable and sort of getting quieter as they get higher, like they are with the test signals. This is timbre. This is why playing a G on a bass guitar, this happens to be a G, sounds different to playing a G on a piano, which I've got coming in a second. But in exactly the same way, I've got that same harmonic series. I've got a piano. The piano does the same thing, but slightly differently because a piano doesn't sound like a bass guitar. And I've got that same harmonic series, but in different proportions. This is where timbre comes from. A big difference here, actually, is that there's less of the fundamental present. So if I put that away and we look at the shape, there's the harmonic, really quiet compared to the bass. Loads more energy there, but they still sound like the same note. Okay, I've got a second equalizer lined up here with a different shape of filter. This is a bandpass filter, so using this, we can listen to those harmonics in isolation rather than in context with the sound. So let's have a very quick go at that. I'll start off with the square wave. If I switch this one in, there's just the fundamental. nothing, 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 till I get all the way up here to the next harmonic. Let's try the same thing with the sawtooth wave. We've got the same harmonic present, but we've got more of them. We've got some that weren't present before. That's all very well in these kind of idealized synthetic sounds. What about the bass guitar? Still got those same harmonics present, but in different proportions, but they're exactly the same building blocks. But in the same way, if I place this bandpass filter just here, there's nothing there. I'm in a gap. So that's the point that I'm making. And I hope this demonstration illustrates the point that it's exactly the same harmonic series that builds all pitch sounds. Noise and non-pitch sounds are fundamentally different. But if you're using an equalizer, you need to be using that equalizer to boost energy or cut energy that is present in that sound to begin with. And depending on the timbre of the sound you're using, there may be nothing there. You might be in a gap.